From New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Varanasi after election win, releases a 17th installment worth more than $2.5 billion benefiting the farmers. The US to roll out a program for allowing spouses of citizens without legal status to apply for permanent residency and citizenship. Russia's President Vladimir Putin heads to North Korea for the first time in more than 2 decades. Trade and security top his agenda. And tensions rise on the Korean peninsula. South Korea fires warning shots after soldiers from the north crossed the border. Multiple injuries reported. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. He participated in a program felicitating farmers in Varanasi on Tuesday. The Prime Minister released the 17th installment amounting to more than $2.5 billion to around 92 million beneficiaries through the direct benefit transfer method. So far, more than 110 million eligible farmer families have received benefits of more than $37 billion under the government's program. During the event, the Prime Minister granted certificates to more than 30,000 women from self-help groups. After being sworn in as Prime Minister for the third consecutive time, Mr. Modi had signed his first file authorizing the release of the 17th installment, reflecting the commitment of the government to farmers' welfare. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister said that more than 1 million farmers joined the government program, whereby farmers get a fixed amount of money as minimum income support.
पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि में सही लाभार्थी तक लाभ पहुंचाने के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी का बेहतर इस्तेमाल हुआ है। कुछ महीने पहले ही विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा के दौरान भी 1 करोड़ से अधिक किसान इस योजना से जुड़े हैं। सरकार ने पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि का लाभ पाने के लिए कई नियमों को भी सरल किया है। जब सही नीयत होती है, सेवा की भावना होती है, तो ऐसे ही तेजी से किसान हित के जनहित के काम होता है।
And this is what farmers had to say about the program. Take a listen.
We have been benefited by all the schemes introduced by the Prime Minister. For example, the Kisan Samman Nidhi, we have been getting cow dung easily now. Earlier, it was difficult.
All the arrangements made by the Prime Minister are going smoothly. There are a lot of facilities for the farmers.
We have been getting a lot of benefits because of PM Modi and also the Kisan Pradinidhi scheme.
A webcasting session was organized by the state of Tamil Nadu in southern India in conjunction with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's disbursement of the 17th installment of the fund to farmers in Varanasi. Members of women's self-help groups who completed a training program were given diplomas by India's Minister Shobha Karandlaje on the occasion.
किसान भाइयों, केवल किसान सम्मान नहीं, किसान सम्मान एक योजना है 6,000 देने का। किसान सम्मान के साथ साथ मोदी जी सरकार आने के बाद फसल बीमा योजना का मदद हमारे देश का किसानों को मिल रही है। आपका फसलों को कुछ समस्या हुआ तो ज्यादा बाढ़ आया, ज्यादा सूखा आया, इसी से नुकसान पहुंचा, उसी समय फसल बीमा योजना आपको मदद करेगा।
All right, moving on, a U.S. delegation comprising sitting and former lawmakers is visiting India. The delegation, which also includes a former U.S. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, reached Himachal Pradesh's Kangra airport on Tuesday. They've sought an audience with Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, in Dharamsala. The delegation was received by officials from the Central Tibetan Administration. A purpose of the visit is to reinforce the resolution that the U.S. signed for a peaceful resolution of a dispute over the status and governance of Tibet.
Very excited as part of a congressional delegation led by Representative Meeks, who is the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and Chairman McCall, who's the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Our purpose of our visit is to reinforce the resolution that we signed and to visit His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
A vote in the U.S. close to the heart of the country's political power is creating a major split in the pro-Trump movement. Americans in a district in the state of Virginia, which borders Washington, D.C., are heading to the polls to choose their Republican Party nominee for the lower chamber of the country's legislature. But the local contest is being marked mainly as a battle over which candidate has the backing of former President and White House hopeful Donald Trump. Benji Haya reports from Washington, D.C.
Here's where we are. The chairman of an ultra-conservative congressional group versus another right-wing politician, one who has the support of Donald Trump. It's a race that's personified a splintering going on deep within Republican circles, characterized by personal feuds over true ideological divides. On the one side, Representative Bob Good. He calls himself a biblical conservative. He's an America First isolationist who wants to crack down on immigration at the southern border, block aid to Ukraine and shrink government spending. On the other, you have John McGuire, a state senator, formerly a Navy SEAL, and someone who denies that Trump lost the last presidential election. He's challenging Congressman Good to be on the ballot for the Republicans in November. Now, they agree on most issues. Both think that Donald Trump should be re-elected to the White House. The difference? Well, Bob Good initially endorsed Trump's rival instead, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, in the Republican presidential primary. Despite then siding with Trump, the move didn't go down well with the former president, who himself is vying for the Oval Office again. So Trump turned on Bob Good, telling voters in Virginia that he'll stab them in the back, and even sending Mr. Good a cease and desist letter demanding he stop using Trump's name in campaigning. Meanwhile, on the other side of Washington, in the state of Maryland, former governor and now Senate contender Larry Hogan is distancing himself from Trump despite earning his public endorsement. In short, varying strategies on display here as candidates look to carefully navigate the political minefield that is Donald Trump, a convicted felon and a man whose association could make or break somebody's ambitions for high office. Benji Haya in Washington, reporting for DD India.
U.S. President Joe Biden is going to announce a program offering a path to citizenship to hundreds of thousands of immigrants in the U.S. illegally who are married to U.S. citizens, a large-scale legalization effort that contrasts sharply with Republican rival Donald Trump's plan for mass deportations. The program, which will roll out in coming months, will be open to an estimated 500,000 spouses who have lived in the U.S. for at least 10 years. Some 50,000 children under the age of 21 with a U.S. citizen parent also will be eligible. The majority of such people who would likely benefit are Mexicans. All right, going back to the story of the U.S. delegation's visit to India, comprising sitting and former lawmakers. Joining me is my colleague Nandini Mittal. Nandini, what more can you tell us about the US delegation's engagements in Dharamsala? When are they expected to get an audience with the Dalai Lama?
Actually, American lawmakers have been regularly visiting Dharamshala in reflection of Washington's support for the cause of Tibetans. This time also, when the delegation reached Dharamshala today morning, the Tibetan community extended warm welcome to the delegation. The delegation is likely to meet the Dalai Lama tomorrow morning or by afternoon.
Now, that said, Nandini, for the benefit of viewers joining us from around the world, Dharamsala is also known as Little Tibet. Tell us more about the place.
Look, Dharamshala has the headquarters of Tibetan government in exile, and thus has been important place where every now and then people from all over the world travel to meet spiritual guru Dalai Lama. Around 7,000 people, Tibetan people lives here in a community. They run their school, they have a parliament, they have a welfare trust also. So when you reach Dharamshala, you feel, especially McLeodganj, where there are temples, Buddhism related temples are there, then Dalai Lama residence is there. You feel you are in Little Tibet.
All right, we leave it at that. Nandini Mithal, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you, appreciate it. And still to come on DD India News Hour. NATO chief says that the alliance is committed to more military and financial support for Ukraine. And the right-wing Reform UK party gains ground over the Conservatives, but the opposition Labour Party continues to lead by a wide margin in opinion polls.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. To West Asia now, the Israel-Hamas conflict continues to escalate as Israeli forces intensify their operations in Rafah. On Tuesday, the Israeli army announced that its troops were conducting precise intelligence-based operations, resulting in the killing of militants.
The Israel-Hamas conflict continues to escalate as Israeli forces intensify their operations in Rafah. On Tuesday, the Israeli army announced that its troops are conducting precise, intelligence-based operations, resulting in the killing of militants during close quarters encounters. Meanwhile, U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein was in Lebanon, emphasized on Tuesday that the United States aims to prevent a greater war amid recent increased exchanges of fire between Hezbollah and the Israeli military along Lebanon's southern border. On Monday, he met with the Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem.
The conversations that I had here today in Beirut and the ones that I had yesterday in Israel, both are being conducted because the situation is serious. We have seen an escalation over the last few weeks. And what President Biden wants to do is to avoid a further escalation to a greater war. That is the effort here.
As the conflict rages on, United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk has expressed concern over the deteriorating situation in the West Bank. Turk highlighted the escalating humanitarian crisis and called for immediate action to address these urgent challenges.
The situation in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is dramatically deteriorating.
The situation remains tense and complex, with multiple fronts of conflict and international efforts aimed at de-escalation.
And now to all the news from the Indo-Pacific. Russia's President Vladimir Putin's historic visit to North Korea reinforces Moscow's dedication to strengthening trade and security ties with the isolated nation after 24 years. The visit coincides with escalating tensions and a border breach incident involving North Korean soldiers, highlighting the volatile regional dynamics.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has affirmed Russia's commitment to strengthening trade and security relations with North Korea, marking his first visit in 24 years. In a letter published by North Korean state media on Tuesday, Putin emphasized on the long-standing partnership between the two countries, rooted in principles of equality and mutual respect over the past 70 years. The visit comes amid Putin's strategic efforts to bolster alliances outside Western influence, particularly following Russia's military action in Ukraine and Putin's pledge to deepen ties with North Korea, which includes support against perceived threats from the United States. While Putin is in Pyongyang, South Korea and China convened their inaugural diplomatic and security discussions in Seoul pursuant to a recent agreement. The talks aimed to bolster bilateral cooperation amidst mounting tensions on the Korean peninsula. The dialogue coincided with Putin's visit to North Korea, prompting calls from Seoul and Washington to avoid activities that breach UN Security Council resolutions. While in another development highlighting regional volatility, South Korea's military responded to an incident where North Korean soldiers breached the military demarcation line in the heavily fortified border area. The breach, involving 20 to 30 North Korean soldiers who crossed nearly 20 meters into South Korean territory, prompted South Korean forces to fire warning shots to enforce their boundaries' integrity. Following the border breach, South Korea's military has intensified monitoring of North Korean military activities near the demarcation line.
The North Korean military is carrying out various types of activities at the frontline area. Our military is closely monitoring the activities of the North Korean military and closely cooperating with the UNC while maintaining a firm military readiness.
As Russian President Vladimir Putin is on a two-day visit to North Korea, neighboring states like Vietnam anticipate his upcoming visit, highlighting the need for diplomatic vigilance in the region. Bureau Report, DD India.
As the Ukraine-Russia conflict enters the third year, Kyiv's fate still hinges on the West. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg says the alliance is committed to more military and financial support to Ukraine and that it will continue to bring Ukraine closer to NATO membership. But the situation on the ground is grim. Meanwhile, a Pacific fleet of the Russian Navy has begun a 10-day military exercise to test its readiness to repel any aggression.
Oil storage tanks in the Russian town of Azov on fire after a drone attack. Russia's emergency ministry said the blaze covered an area of 5,000 square meters, but there were no casualties. Ukraine claimed responsibility for this drone attack. Ukraine has in recent months stepped up aerial assaults on Russian soil, targeting refineries and oil terminals. Moscow's army is pressing hard along the front line in eastern Ukraine, where a shortage of troops and ammunition in the third year of war has made defenders vulnerable. Meanwhile, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, who was in Washington for preparations for the next month's NATO summit in the US capital, said that NATO is committed for more military and financial support to Ukraine.
Allies will commit more military and financial support to Ukraine. If we want a peace in Ukraine, the best way of achieving that is to strengthen Ukraine's military capabilities so they can negotiate from a position of strength and ensure that Ukraine prevails and survives as a sovereign independent nation.
Stoltenberg also said that NATO will continue to bring Ukraine ever closer to NATO membership.
At the summit, we will continue to bring Ukraine ever closer to NATO membership, so that when the time is right, Ukraine can join without delay.
Amid tensions with the West over fighting in Ukraine, Pacific Fleet of the Russian Navy has begun 10 days of military exercises in the waters of the Pacific Ocean, the Sea of Japan and the Sea of Okhotsk. Kremlin said drills were intended to test the Pacific Fleet's readiness to repel aggression. Russian President Putin hailed the military's performance during the massive naval drills. Bureau Report, DD India.
Across the Atlantic in Europe, the opposition Labour Party continues to lead by a wide margin in UK opinion polls. But the right-wing Reform UK party has been gaining ground in several surveys, even overtaking the Conservatives in one poll. But under Britain's electoral system, that's not expected to translate into as many seats as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's Conservatives are likely to receive. Nonetheless, Reform UK party candidate and leader Nigel Farage is promising tighter UK borders and tax cuts, saying that his party hopes to become a strong opposition for the party that takes power.
I've said from the start, this should be the immigration election. I have no doubt about that. I think the population explosion, the impact that it's had on people's lives, is the dominant issue. That 1 in 30 people on the streets of Britain today have come here in the last 2 years alone. Never before in history have we ever seen literally anything like it. And as for Labour, well, it's extraordinary that they launched their manifesto with their 6 key priorities, not even mentioning immigration, not even mentioning the impact on people's lives. So we want to have a proper, honest debate about it, and we believe that an overall freeze on net migration numbers is what we need for a few years to help us at least try to catch up.
Campaigning for a snap parliamentary election called by France's President Emmanuel Macron is on. Far-right party leader Jordan Bardella called on French voters on Tuesday to give his party an absolute majority so that it is able to govern effectively. France's Prime Minister Gabriel Attal challenged the feasibility of the far-right party's campaign promises.
Since the start of this campaign, we see a U-turn on a proposal every day. They have been saying for a year that the first thing they would do is to repeal the pension reform. And then he said, oh, well, no, actually, I'm not sure anymore.
All right, now take a look at what else is making news around the world. A wildfire in Colusa County in California, state of the U.S., burned approximately 4,000 acres of land. Firefighters were battling the blaze into the night, and latest reports indicate that containment efforts have not yet succeeded. The challenging terrain and dry conditions are complicating firefighting efforts. Dozens of people protested against the anti-finance bill in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, on Tuesday. Protesters shouted slogans against the controversial finance bill, while police fired stun grenades, water cannons to disperse them. The protests, which were named Occupy Parliament, aimed to pressure lawmakers into rejecting the bill. China and Australia have signed a memorandum of understanding to promote the implementation of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement from 2024 to 2025. The memorandum is expected to help the two sides further deepen their cooperation within the FTA framework. And now to news from South Asia. India's outdated justice system is getting a major reform with 3 new laws replacing colonial-era codes. These aim for faster trials, mandatory forensics, and a more victim-friendly system.
Century, India's criminal justice system operated under the shadow of its colonial past. Sluggish case processing and limited victim rights plague the system. However, a recent revolution is rewriting the narrative. In 2024, India ushered in a new era with the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita and Bharatiya Sakshat Adhiniyam. These new laws replace the archaic British-era codes, aiming to streamline processes, empower victims and deliver swifter justice. Gone are the days of victims spending hours filing complaints. The cornerstone of this reform lies in speed and transparency. Today, a few clicks on a phone app can initiate the process. This online FIR or First Information Report system not only saves time but also empowers victims, especially those in remote areas or facing mobility limitations. But the reforms extend far beyond convenience. The new laws prioritize victims' rights, placing them at the center of the legal process. Witness protection programs ensure safety, and courts must consider victim input before dismissing a case. This shift in focus acknowledges the emotional and psychological toll crimes inflict. Furthermore, the system is becoming more inclusive. Elderly individuals, women, and people with disabilities no longer face the additional burden of navigating crowded police stations. Investigations can now be conducted in the comfort of their homes, a small yet significant step towards accessibility. Technology can also play a crucial role in the new system. Mandatory forensics for serious crimes ensures stronger evidence collection, potentially leading to higher conviction rates. Additionally, virtual court appearances allow for swifter proceedings and eliminates the stress of travel for victims and witnesses. However, like any other major reform, challenges persist. Ensuring proper implementation across the vast and diverse Indian landscape is paramount. Concerns regarding potential misuse of police power also requires vigilant monitoring. Despite these hurdles, the new legal framework represents a significant leap forward. India's criminal justice system is no longer an archaic relic, but a system striving to be faster, fairer, and more respectful of all those who seek its protection. This is a revolution with the potential to transform the lives of millions, offering them the hope of a justice system that truly works for them. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar underlined the need to regulate the information, highlighting that unregulated information and fake news can create havoc or disaster of unimaginable proportion. Interacting with a group of Indian Information Service officer trainees at the Vice President's enclave on Tuesday, he said that information is power, information is too dangerous a power, information is that power which has to be regulated. Describing India as the most vibrant democracy in the world, the Vice President said that legitimacy of a government depends on the amount of trust people have in it. All right, now take a look at what else is making news in India. Widespread downpour was witnessed in several parts of the northeastern Indian state of Tripura on Tuesday. In its capital, Agartala, incessant rains have disrupted vehicular traffic because of waterlogging in several low-lying areas. Heavy to very heavy rains have been forecast in various districts till Wednesday. A bridge on the Bakra River collapsed at Araria in the state of Bihar and fell in the bridge. The bridge was built at Padkia Ghat in the district. 3 of its pillars were swept away by the current, causing the bridge to collapse. The district administration of Balasore in Odisha has imposed Section 144 of the Criminal Procedure Code following a violent clash between two groups. The curfew came into effect from Monday midnight and will continue until midnight on the 18th of June, aiming to restore the law and order situation in the town. And still to come on DD India News Hour. The International Day of Yoga is just 3 days away. We get you a roundup of events leading up to the mega celebration. That's coming up after a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Varanasi after election win, releases a 17th installment worth more than $2.5 billion benefiting the farmers. Russia's President Vladimir Putin heads to North Korea for the first time in more than 2 decades. Trade and security top his agenda. And tensions rise on the Korean peninsula. South Korea fires warning shots after soldiers from the north crossed the border. Multiple injuries reported. Going back to the top story here on DD India News Hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a massive roadshow in Varanasi on Tuesday. People in large numbers gathered to have a glimpse of the Prime Minister. They also showered flower petals at the cavalcade of the Prime Minister. Afterwards, the Prime Minister visited the Dashashwamedh Ghat in Varanasi. He conducted Ganga prayers and other rituals at the Ghat. Ganga Aarti was performed in his presence as well. Uttar Pradesh Governor Anandiben Patel and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath also graced the occasion. The Prime Minister witnessed the bhajans performed at the Ghat. After the Ganga Aarti, the Prime Minister visited the Kashi Vishwanath temple in Varanasi and offered prayers there. He worshipped Lord Shiva in the temple and performed various sacred rituals. Now, Varanasi is one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities. Kashi, its ancient name, was associated with a kingdom of the same name more than 2 millennia ago. But its journey from a symbol of faith to a symbol of development is nothing short of remarkable.
Varanasi, also known as Banaras or Kashi, the spiritual capital of India and one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. It is one of the most sacred cities in Hindu religion, a place of pilgrimage for Hindus. Hindus believe that breathing one's last on the banks of Varanasi leads to salvation and freedom from the cycle of birth and rebirth. It is believed that the river Ganga, which flows through Varanasi, washes away the sins of mortals. Varanasi has attracted people from all over the world for ages. An English author, Mark Twain, visited Varanasi in the second half of the 19th century. Enthralled by the city's legend, Twain wrote that Banaras is older than history, older than tradition, older even than legend, and looks twice as old as all of them put together. It remains popular to this day. US actor Brad Pitt has spoken about his visit to the absolutely staggering Varanasi. Another actor, Morgan Freeman, found his stay in Varanasi extremely fascinating. An English cricketer, Steve Waugh, visited Varanasi to fulfill the last wish of a deceased shoe shiner from Sydney. The man's last wish was to have his ashes scattered in the Ganga. 32 tourists from Switzerland signed up for the maiden voyage of the MV Ganga Vilas. The world's longest river cruise was flagged off by the Prime Minister in January 2023. It travelled more than 3,000 kilometers in 51 days from Varanasi to Dibrugarh in India via Bangladesh. The late Prime Minister of Japan, Abe Shinzo, performed and attended the Ganga Aarti along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Aarti is a Hindu ceremony in which lights with wicks soaked in ghee are lit and offered up to one or more deities.
लेकिन आज यहाँ आने के बाद लगता है कि न मुझे किसी ने भेजा है न मैं यहाँ आया हूँ मुझे तो माँ गंगा ने बुलाया है.
Varanasi's journey from a symbol of faith to a symbol of development is nothing short of remarkable. In 2014, Narendra Modi visited the city to file his nomination for the first time for the parliamentary election. He won the election from Varanasi in 2019 and again in 2024. The development works accomplished in the city with Modi as lawmaker has become an example for others. Next generation infrastructure such as modern transport facilities and convention centers have come up in the last decade, retaining the original temperament and culture of Varanasi. Bureau Report, DD India.
And next, India's Prime Minister Modi will visit the eastern Indian state of Bihar on Wednesday, where he will inaugurate a new campus of the Nalanda University at Rajgir. The university was conceived as a joint collaboration between India and ASEAN countries. The inauguration ceremony will be attended by the heads of mission of 17 countries and other eminent people. The campus has 2 academic blocks with 40 classrooms having a total seating capacity of 1,900. It has 2 auditoria having a capacity of 300 seats each. It also has various other facilities such as an international center, an amphitheater, a faculty club and a sports complex. The university has a deep connection with history. The original Nalanda University, established around 1,600 years ago, is considered to be one of the oldest residential universities of its kind in the world. In 2016, the ruins of Nalanda were declared as a United Nations Heritage Site. And joining me is a very special guest. Joining us is Dr. Ravi Bhatt. He joins us from Lucknow and he's a historian. Dr. Bhatt, welcome to DD India News Hour. Why don't I begin by asking you to talk to our viewers about the journey of Varanasi, its evolution over the decades and its place in Indian history and religion.
Well, when we talk about the Varanasi word is basically, there are 2 rivers there. One is the Varna, the other is the Asi river. So it is surrounded by these 2 rivers on the Gangetic plain. So that is the reason it was earlier called Varanasi also. And the Kashi word is, the root word of this is the Kas. Kas means shine. Shine means that's the city of shining, the city of lights. That shows the city of learning.
Right.
And when so this place, Varanasi had always been in the history of India. Rather, also this part of the world, it is known as the city of scholars, learned people. So people have been coming from all over the world for the studies to this place also, this place Kashi. And when we go back to the history, as per the mythology, and this city was established by founded by the Vishnu. And in the 8th century, the Adi Shankaracharya had established the seat here, with temple which you see right now here. The temple was there, but it was declared. And after that, unfortunate part was there of the 8th century, in 1191, after the first war of Tarain, in the second war of Tarain, that was 1192, the Muhammad Ghori had won. And this man had in 1193, Jachan was defeated. 1194, the Kutubuddin Aibak, he was one of the commanders of the Ghori, and he had come and destroyed the temple. Now, after that, this temple was rebuilt by around 1230 by a Gujarati merchant. But then again, in 15th century, there are 2 schools of thoughts. One, they say that this was again demolished by the Sharqi rulers of Jaunpur, and the other say, no, it was established by the kings of Delhi. This was destroyed. Again, it was rebuilt. People during the time of Akbar, that is on the 16th century, the Raja of Jaipur wanted to again, rebuild it, but the Brahmins of Varanasi, they didn't like it because they said that they had surrendered and they had become the subordinate, the Raja of Jaipur of Mughal, so they didn't accept, and especially there was a Narayan Bhatt. He said blankly that will not accept it.
Okay.
After that, later on, this temple was again, people tried to build it again. And in 1669, this was again destroyed by, as we all know, well-known fact, by the Aurangzeb. And after once Aurangzeb had destroyed it, and then again this, but you just see the spirit of the city and just see how much it is valued by the masses of the India.
Absolutely.
Masses as well as the classes. That means the rulers.
Right.
And the Orissa Raja has also tried to do it. Then the Maratha ruler, Malharao Holkar, even he tried way back in 1742. He tried to rebuild it, but he couldn't build it because that time it was under the Nawabs of Lucknow.
Okay.
And Nawabs of Lucknow, they didn't let him do it. And after that, in 1780, Ahilyabai was her she had again rebuilt it properly. And as we know, Raja Ranjit Singh has given a lot of gold here on that. So now this is the historical, the timeline. But I want to tell you the spirit of the city.
Yeah. So would you say, for instance, Dr. Bhatt, would you therefore say that Varanasi is a perfect blend of tradition and modernity?
Absolutely correct. You have used the right sentence. This is the one of the rarest of rare city where the development has not been done at the cost of the heritage.
Right.
Rather, when the city was developed, as you see the new temple which has come up, in all perspective that it was seen that the heritage of our city, heritage of the city, it should not be intact, but it should be shine. It should shine, and the dust has been cleared from the heritage of Varanasi during the recent development of the city, and that's the reason. Actually, you go and I can tell you in the coming times all over the world, this model of development along with keeping our heritage will be followed by all over the world when people will
Indeed.
Indeed.
Since you mentioned about the model of development, Dr. Bhatt, now Varanasi enjoys a pride of place among Indian cities for being the parliamentary constituency of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In your estimation, how has the city changed over the last decade in particular?
That's something very interesting you said. I said, what is the name? A new leash of life. The Varanasi has got. Varanasi was already known all over the world among the Sanatanis as well as the others also. Because this was basically the center of Astha, center of faith for the crores of Sanatani Hindus.
Indeed.
But at the same time, now let me tell you, now since it has become the constituency of our Prime Minister, and Prime Minister, the new temple has been built. So, it has drawn the attention from all over the world.
Right.
It was already well known. As you know, go to the Varanasi, even 30 years back, you go there, you'll find lot many foreigners. You'll find in every nook and corner, you'll find foreigners.
Right.
That clearly proves that it was a center of attraction for all over the world. But right now, when the city has unfolded such a at a large scale, it has you see the way it looks at it. It has drawn the attention from all over the world, and not only the scholars, the scholars that they want to see, the architects they want to see, the historians want to see, and the common man on the street all over the globe. They are not interested to see what kind of the city is, and the kind of the faith it generates. But I think it has attracted more people than Vatican City. I'm sorry if I'm not trying to exaggerate it. I'm not exaggerating it. But now all over the world, if you go, you'll find the name of the Kashi on, if not more than at least parallel to the Vatican City.
Absolutely. On that note, may I thank you, Dr. Ravi Bhatt, for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. And now to all the updates on the International Day of Yoga, which will be celebrated on the 21st of June. Now, yoga transports us to a state where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. It's not surprising then that this practice, which transcends borders, is getting integrated into contemporary lifestyles. From corporate settings to the military, yoga has become an integral part of people's everyday lives. Nupur Praveen reports from New Delhi.
As the sun rises on yet another day, millions around the globe are embracing a practice that transcends boundaries and unites minds, bodies and soul. Yoga.
Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, recently made a significant statement. He said that yoga is a zero investment method that requires no expenses for good health. The theme for this year's International Yoga Day is also along similar lines, yoga for self and society.
With the International Day of Yoga approaching on June 21st, the spotlight turns to how this ancient discipline is finding a significant role in modern lifestyles.
I've been doing yoga for several years now, and it's been really good for me. I feel really good taking an hour for myself in the morning and then enjoying the rest of the day. It keeps me fit, it keeps me focused, it keeps me, as we say in Hindi, shant.
I've been practicing yoga since 2013. So it's been long, 11 years. I had thyroid and other complexities, and now my parameters are all normal. I feel very energetic and happy the whole day, and I don't miss yoga. Every day I practice.
From office boardrooms to the battlefield, yoga's influence knows no bounds. And then there's laughter yoga, where joy becomes the asana, a state of physical and mental harmony. Infusing traditional yoga with the lightness of laughter, practitioners experience not only the physical benefits but also a profound sense of joy, connection, and an immense inner satisfaction.
Everybody knows that laughter is the best medicine, and if you laugh every day, it will reduce your stress, boost your immune system, and keep your mind positive. Science tells us that if you want to get the health benefits of laughter, you must laugh at least for 10 to 15 minutes. And this is the reason we created Laughter Yoga. Laughter Yoga is a form of exercise where anybody can laugh without jokes, humor and comedies.
As the world prepares to celebrate International Day of Yoga on 21st June, let's take a moment to celebrate India's priceless contribution to the world. A path of unity, well-being and inner harmony. With camera person Mohit, this is Nupur Praveen for DD India in New Delhi.
And now to all the updates from the 18th edition of the Mumbai International Film Festival. Day 4 of the Mumbai International Film Festival kicked off with a thought-provoking panel discussion on the nuanced debate between biographical documentaries and biopics on Tuesday. DD India's Shyama Mishra caught up with an ace Indian cinematographer and film director, Santosh Sivan.
Santosh Sivan is here with us at Mumbai International Film Festival. Sir, you are here, and I believe you're here with your first movie. What is it about, and when is it going to be screened?
It was very nice. It is being screened now, actually. I just introduced the film because my first film I shot in Varanasi, 35 years back. I directed it and shot it because I used to teach children there, so I made that story. And now they're showing a restored print. It is actually in Idunishmi language, but now they have dubbed it into Hindi and they're showing it. So it is heartening to see that they've restored it and they have maintained it, because Arunachal Pradesh is a great place and that film is full of tribal acting in it, and they had never seen a movie before. So it is interestingly archival quality of that time. So, but the festival itself is a really fantastic festival.
So you're also having a master class. What are you going to talk about? And since you've said that, you know, the work for making it internationally known is already going on, what more do you see that needs to be done over here, because you're coming from Cannes Film Festival?
Focus is, I think, what's mainly lacking in our festival. We need to have a focus. When I was in Busan, I was in the jury there. That time the focus was to promote Asian films. So every festival will have something to focus. So in Sundance, my film The Terrorist was the first film in Sundance. So when I went there, they are focusing independent films and giving them release, you know. So we should have a system, a focus for our festivals, I feel. Yeah.
Lastly, sir, we are still seeing that, you know, MIF is one place where documentaries are showcased, and now of late we've seen that OTTs are showing some good documentaries, but still there are innumerable issues pertaining to documentaries and their access. How do we solve them? How do we address them?
Well, I think they are interesting because you are seeing some place, discovering it, place or people and discovering it, celebrating our art forms or whatever, you know. So I think short films are definitely here to stay, and it's also a very good window to showcase India to the world, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to us, sir. So that was Santosh Sivan talking about the MIF, Mumbai International Film Festival, with camera person Gaurav Kagra. This is Shyama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
And internationally acclaimed filmmaker Kisan Mehta said that the time for Indian animation films has come and that they are ready to take off, adding that India is a powerhouse of content.
Over 100 years of history of cinema, but animation is a very nascent stage as yet, just 2 or 3 decades. And so I now believe that animation sector in India has come of age, that we have some incredible talent in this country, that the technology has been absorbed by now, and so it is time to reach out with our animation content and reach out to the whole world.
A session on the evolution of animation film and their enduring appeal to youth and grown-ups was organized on the occasion. Kisan Mehta, Vaibhav Kumaresh, Mohammad Khairandish and Jackie Bhagnani were the speakers at the session. DD India's Shyama Mishra spoke to Hindi cinema actor and producer Jackie Bhagnani.
Jackie Bhagnani is with us. He was here at Mumbai International Film Festival's Animation Masterclass. Let's ask him what brings you to Animation Masterclass, and are you going to associate yourself with animation works now?
Of course, the idea is to get into animation. I'm already doing animation in under Just Kids, and that's music and animated content from 0 to 6 only for YouTube. And the idea is to do long-length features also. So I was very, very excited to come here, share my experiences, hear from Kisan sir, Munjal sir, Vaibhav, Mohammad sir. Unhone kya kiya, what have they done, how are they doing it, and it was a very liberating experience.
Lastly, you are here at MIF, and how is your experience here, and how do you see this platform, because this is specially and totally dedicated to short films, documentaries and animation, no feature films over here?
No, it's been amazing. My team was here on Sunday to meet certain documentary makers. They updated me. It was amazing. I think what NFDC is doing, what Ritul sir is doing, and the whole team is just amazing. The INB ministry it's amazing that these kind of platforms are available, and more and more people should know about it. So more and more people can take the benefit out of it for both sides, either buying, selling, exposure, or meeting the right people, joining the dots. So I think it's an amazing initiative, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much for talking to us. So that was Jackie talking about how MIF is an important platform, and definitely this is not just for the beginners, but also established people like him are also taking benefit of MIF. With camera person Gaurav Kagra, this is Shyama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
And now to news from the world of sport. A cricket museum in Dubai is becoming a center of attraction for cricket lovers across the globe. Founded by Prasar Bharati, this cricket museum in Dubai is a journey down memory lane of cricket, with almost all special moments of the game inscribed on the walls of this unique place. DD India's Vinod Kumar has more.
Welcome to the Prasar Bharati Cricket Museum in Dubai, a place where the rich history of cricket comes alive. This museum, which celebrated its 14th anniversary this year, is a treasure trove of cricket memorabilia, much of it donated by legendary cricketers themselves. It all began when Sunil Gavaskar presented his cricket bat to Mr. Bhatia during the Cricketers Benefit Fund Series tournament in Sharjah. From that seed grew Mr. Bhatia's dream of creating a cricket museum in this non-test playing nation.
My name is Prasar Bharati. I originally belongs to Ajmer, Rajasthan, and moved to Dubai. I used to play cricket myself and was very passionate of the game. And after finishing my career, due to injuries, then I wanted to support the game.
The museum's walls narrate cricket's history from 1887 to the present day, featuring heroes of the game and dedicated pillars for each test-playing nation. Rare treasures include this limited edition 1983 World Cup Opus book, bats autographed by legends like Don Bradman, and equipment actually used in World Cup matches over the decades.
We have originally cricket bats autographed by each and every team and every player from 2011, 2015, then 2019, all here, each and every team and players.
Beyond the priceless memorabilia and World Cup treasures, the museum houses an extraordinary library. Here, 3 centuries worth of records, books and magazines documenting cricket's rich history are carefully preserved. From rare volumes to modern analysis, the comprehensive collection allows one to get immersed in the evolution of the game. Bhatia's contributions to cricket have earned him numerous accolades, including a nomination for the prestigious Sports Imprint Award by the Dubai Sports Council, recognizing his humanitarian efforts to support grassroots cricket. Bhatia's curated museum showcases an extraordinary collection of rare and significant memorabilia from international cricket, providing visitors with an immersive journey through the sport's history. Vinod Kumar's report for DD India, Dubai.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hub. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen now to download it. And let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.